Who are the top catcher prospects heading into 2024? Find out next on Fantasy Baseball Today in 5. Welcome into FBT in 5 on Thursday, October 19th. I am Frank Samfeld, joined by Scott White, and let's take a look at the top 5 catcher prospects according to our buddy, Chris the Welsh. First up, we have Ethan Salas with the Padres, 17 years old, Scott, which is just absolutely insane when you think about the fact he made it to Double-A. I know the Padres are usually aggressive. That almost seems too aggressive.
Yeah, for a 17-year-old catcher, the most demanding defensive position.
Yeah.
For a catcher to make it to Double-A at 17, any player making it to Double-A at 17 is ridiculous. But particularly at that position, it's just it kind of feels like the Padres lost their mind a little, and they are an organization that has a reputation for promoting their prospects perhaps a little too aggressively. It does make me curious where Salas will begin next year, because it was only 9 games he got at High A before going up and appearing in 9 games at Double-A. Between those 18 games at those 2 stops, he was only 12 for 73, or I'm sorry, 12 for 63, I should say, which is not a very good batting average. But yeah, it's also a testament to Ethan Salas's upside that he was able to make it all the way to Double-A, that the Padres felt confident in him, and specifically his defense is very advanced for a player being that young. Normally it's defense that holds back an up-and-comer at catcher, and the offensive upside is apparent, but he's just got a lot to do to learn how to catch at the major league level. Salas has huge offensive upside too, don't get me wrong. That's why he's at the top of the rankings here, but he may still need to grow into that a little more while the defense is the most advanced part of him right now.
The number 2 and 3 catcher prospects are Samuel Basayo with the Orioles. He's 19 years old, just had a huge season, hitting .313 with 20 homers, 12 steals, and a .953 OPS. The number 3 name is Harry Ford with the Mariners, 20 years old. We've heard his name thrown about for a while now, a former first-round pick from back in 2021. This past season hit .257 with 15 home runs, 24 steals, and an .840 OPS. Really interesting skill set here, Scott, for Harry Ford with the power and the speed. I guess there are questions in my mind about whether or not he remains a catcher. Obviously, the Mariners have Cal Raleigh, and it sounds like there's a chance Harry Ford could debut as soon as 2024.
Yes, but part of my frustration with Harry Ford, I love the profile. I've been very high on him each of the past 2 years as a dynasty asset, but they've moved him so slowly. He spent a full year at Low A. He spent a full year this past season at High A. I thought Harry Ford was talented enough that, he could make a couple jumps in season, and we haven't seen that from him yet. Maybe this is the year it happens. He'll be 21 this year. So maybe that's a more appropriate time for Harry Ford to make that leap. I think part of what's held him up is that the Mariners seem insistent on playing him a catcher. That's another frustration I have with Harry Ford. I think he's so talented that he's almost wasted at catcher, because that introduces so much uncertainty to a player's big league path, to the opportunities he gets once he makes it to the majors, to how he develops physically because of the demands of that position. Harry Ford is a great base stealer for a catcher. His on-base skills are as good as any minor leaguer. He walked 103 times in 118 games this past year. I think as a hitter, he could maybe have a Marcus Semien type future, but I don't know that that's a possibility for Harry Ford if he remains behind the plate. So I'm actually rooting for him to move off catcher at some point. Hasn't happened yet.
The number 4 catcher prospect is Jeferson Caro with the Brewers. He's 21 years old, just hit .262 with 16 home runs, 5 steals, and a .779 OPS. And Kyle Teel rounds out the top 5, 21 years old, first-round pick from this year's draft. Drafted by the Boston Red Sox, a very small sample size, only 26 games, where he hit .363 with 2 homers, 3 steals, a 977 OPS. Scott, any quick thoughts here on Jeferson, Caro, and Kyle Teel?
Well, I should probably clarify that these are not my personal prospect rankings, which will come out a little later in the offseason. I'm not sure I'll have Jeferson, Caro in my top 5. I might have a different Caro, actually, Edgar Caro of the White Sox ahead of him. Jeferson, Caro, his main attribute, like his best attribute, seems to be defense. Not that he's a bad offensive player, but the Brewers already have an offensive-minded catcher in William Contreras, and I'm not sure how soon it will be before Quero has an opportunity to be a full-time catcher for the Brewers. So he might drop a couple spots for me. I am very excited about Kyle Teal's upside for the Red Sox. He was their first-round pick this year, shows good on-base skills. He made it to Double-A and hit at every stop. Obviously, limited number of at-bats since he was drafted just this year. But the Red Sox don't have a clear they don't have somebody in line to take over as a long-term backstop for him. That was a problem position for them this past year. And because Kyle Teel already has, he's already in his 20s, he has experience in college, he could move pretty quickly. It would be very aggressive for a catcher to make that leap in his first full professional season for Teal to come up and take over for the Red Sox this season, but it doesn't seem outside the realm of possibility if he continues to hit next year.
All right, for more extensive fantasy baseball coverage, listen to the Fantasy Baseball Today podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the Audacy app, or anywhere else podcasts are found. Thanks for listening to Fantasy Baseball Today in 5, and we'll be back again on Saturday. Bye-bye!